nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Latina Diaspora. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, what we do here, we talk about issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. Of course, I have my main channel, which is Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, where we discuss everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone just logic. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning if you are not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you must be a subscriber for that same time at least. I want to let everybody know that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. However, if I never heard from you or if I never seen you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage and make sure that no one tries to flush any adult content, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down this stream. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who've already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. Also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, as well as those who allow me to enter into your devices and those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see by the thumbnail, tonight's topic is myths regarding Latinos. Now, I have discussed this previously on my main channel, but it's amazing that in 2026, there's still people have myths regarding Latinos. So what I'm going to do is for the next maybe 30 to 45 minutes, I'm going to discuss some of the myths as to educate those who wish to be educated. But before we do that, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Now, I don't know if anybody who who in the work world had to deal with someone who is entitled and spoiled and narcissistic and get upset because they don't have their own way. Um, it's something that could be irritating. Okay. And it's a particular issue when you're trying to take up time off work. And let me just give you a situation. Now, of course, I'm not going to mention any names, and of course, I'm not going to mention anything about the job. But apparently, I had a coworker who got upset because I requested to take up some time off this week, do some personal things which I needed to take care of. And this individual is crying favoritism. First of all, why, if this person see fit to ask me if I'm taking the entire thing. First of all, it's no one business other than myself and my immediate superior and my chain of command. Um, if I choose to take the whole day, that's my business. Number one. And then talking about seniority. Well, seniority was not created to automatically notify other people from taking off their time off of work for whatever reason. Of course, my time was approved. I went through the proper channels. I went through my chain of command. I submitted my request, and it was forwarded to manage to up the chain of command, and it was approved. And then this individual basically got into a hissy fit and got upset and was requesting to take off the same time I was taking off. First of all, what was overlooked by this individual is that my time out was approved. Okay, and what this person could have done is simply the same thing the same procedures I went through. Submit a request. The request went up the chain of command, and it was approved. But instead of doing all that, went outside and started crying like a spoiled child. Unfortunately, it is that we do have individuals in the work world who act this way. And the best thing to do is to just to minimize the content, the exposure as much as possible. Now, being that this person is my coworker, therefore I can't avoid this person completely. But when I do have to interact, it's purely it's purely to get the job done and to render whatever assistance is necessary. And unfortunately, we're living in a world with some people like it's me first, me second, me third, and the heck with everything else. But one thing I always bear in mind, uh, eventually everyone will sow what they reap. Everyone's going to get their comeuppance eventually, and you cannot control what other people say. You can only control what's going to be your response. And basically, how I've been dealing with the naysayers and those who, those who are my haters, nice. It's to say as very little as possible, and in fact, if anything, not say anything at all. Okay, because the saying, hurt people. Okay, and some people do things simply to get attention, and attention is like currency, right? And it's like a dopamine. Um, no matter what, whether it's good attention or bad attention, as long as they get attention. And I don't have the time for it. I'm too old. Okay, I am in my mid 60s. I'm at my job to do a job for my 7 hours. I'm not here to to placate people who want to act like the female version of Donald Trump having a temper tantrum. But what can I say? That's why I call such individual the circus, because they act like a bunch of clowns. And with that being said, we're gonna go to the main topic. Now, before I go to the main topic, there's one thing I needed to add, comment I need to add. When it comes to my next live on my main channel, I was going to do it on Saturday night at 10 o'clock. It will be pushed to Friday, probably 10:45 p.m. The reason why I'm making a sketch change is that Saturday night people go out. At Saturday night people socialize, and usually on Friday night I usually get a little bit of a better attendance. So for that reason, and of course I will do my usual, which is send the link to several of my friends on Instagram. So if they wish to participate, whether we are live on the playback, that's totally up to them. And shout out for the 5 people that are currently watching. And as I stated, tonight's topic is myths regarding Latinos. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on myth number one: the fact that all Latinos are undocumented. No, many of us are U.S. citizens, whether it be because we were born in the United States, so we're native born U.S. citizens, or we become naturalized U.S. citizens. Okay, somehow there's some ignorant people that under the notion that just because you have a Spanish surname automatically means that you're undocumented. No, and I'll give you a case in point. Puerto Ricans since 1917 has been given U.S. citizenship because, unbeknown to some ignorant people, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. Now, officially, Puerto Rico is known as a Commonwealth of the United States, which is basically more or less a glorified name for a colony. But nevertheless, we have been given U.S. citizenship since 1917. The difference is we do not have representation in Congress in the sense that the one person that does go to Congress, it's more of a spokesman. That person does not have the authority to vote. I mean, that person might be able to express an opinion, but that's about it. And the fact of the matter is, every day there are Latinos that have become naturalized U.S. citizens. There are Latinos that were born on an American soil. That makes them American citizens, regardless of what the current administration is doing to try to get rid of uh, birthright citizenship. Okay, in order for that to happen, that has to be done through changes in the Constitution, which I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. So President Trump can issue as many executive orders as possible. But the last time I checked, this is not a dictatorship. This is, I mean, it's not a democracy. It is a republic. Okay, so that is the first myth. Okay. The second myth that I wish to address is that all of us are drug dealers, all of us are rapists, all of us are, are womanizers, particularly the men. Okay, there are many Latinos, whether it be those that were born in the United States or become naturalized U.S. citizens that lead respectable lives, and many of them have achieved a great deal of success in multiple fields, in the field of politics, in the field of business, in the field of the theater, of the arts, in the field of science. Um, Even Latinos that actually won Nobel Peace Prize, okay, for different things. Okay, many of us have made great achievements, and in fact, um, we have a woman uh, who is on the Supreme Court. Her name is Sonia. Sotomayor, who happened to be from New York. She became the first Latina to serve on the Supreme Court. I believe she was uh, confirmed under the Obama administration, if I am not mistaken. So yes, we all know drug dealers, we all know rapists, uh, we all not all the men are all not all womenizers. Okay, now another myth, and has to pertain to Latinas. All Latinas are submissive, okay, and submissive and ladylike. Uh, and this is a mistake that non-Latinos make, and they find out the hard way when they try to date a Latina. One thing about Latinas is that yes, they tend to be more of the wifey type. At the same time, if you rub them the wrong way, they will let you know where to go, and they will not put up with any crap. Okay, and if you want to find out the hard way, you go upset a Latina, and you're gonna find out. And one thing about Latinas, many of them are passionate, many of them have short tempers, and you will find out. And you don't want to find out the hard way regarding Latinas. Another myth when it comes to Latinos, excuse me, is that we are all Catholic, which is not true. Now, while it is true um, that Latina culture has a strong influence of Catholicism because at one time, what is known as Latin America, which is, with the exception of Brazil, South America, Central America, and large portion of the United States, were ruled under Spain, and of course, Spain is a Catholic country. Not all of us are Catholic. In fact, you have a large population that are evangelical fundamentalists. You also have Latinos, which embraces Islam. You also have Latinos that have no active religious affiliation. Okay. Another myth when it comes to Latinas is that they're all a bunch of sex kittens. No. Okay. Now, while it's true that many Latinas uh, do enjoy intimacy, okay, okay, they're not going around acting like a bunch of porn stars. Do, do they enjoy intimacy? Yes, just like men enjoy intimacy, but they're not a bunch of porn stars. Okay. Another myth when it comes to Latinos is that all Latinos are the same, which is also not true. First of all, you have Latinos from the Caribbean, which countries like Puerto Rico, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic. And the Caribbean Latinos have their own political and political history and other things that make them unique. And then you have Latinos from South America. They have their own unique experiences and dialects and things of that nature. Also, in Central America, places like Mexico, El Salvador, and Central America, the Latinos over there are quite different. And in fact, certain phrases are different. Okay. Like, for example, in Mexico and Central America, they use the word practicar. Okay. Now, the first time I heard someone say, necesito practicar con usted, in other words, okay, you see, in that sense, the word practicar means to converse, to have a conversation. Now, when I heard the term practicar, um, the first thing that came to my mind was, what are we rehearsing? What are we practicing? Okay. It took me a while to understand that when someone says, quiero a practicar contigo, in other words, I want to speak with you. And another thing we have to bear in mind when it comes to Latinos, certain words have different meaning. And you need to be mindful of that. Because if you try to use certain words with certain Latino groups, it's not going to be received well. Like for example, the Spanish word coger, to take. Okay. Um, it's fine if you're speaking to a Dominican. It's fine if you're speaking to a Puerto Rican. It's also fine to a certain extent if you're speaking to a Cuban. If you use the word coger to a Mexican, that's like telling them you want to use a word that starts with an F and ends with a K, and it starts with luck. And I'm not going to say here because I don't want to get censored, or I don't want this life to be taken count for excessive vulgarity. And also, there's certain words. For example, there's certain words, certain slang in like for Dominicans. There's really no adequate English translation or equivalent. Okay, and I'm sure if any Dominicans are in the audience, they can verify that. Okay, like for example, Dominicans use the word singal. Okay, that's basically slang okay. I'm gonna say the nice way to have intimacy, but more like it's kind of like it's another way of saying the word which starts with an F, ends with a K, and it starts and rhymes with luck. And of course, I'm not going to say it here. I'm not okay. So there are some other myths regarding Latinos. Okay, not every Latino, like I said, not every Latino is Catholic. Some are Catholic. Some are evangelical. Some are fundamentalists. Some are Muslim. Some are followers of Jehovah Witnesses, and some do not have any religious affiliation at all. And one of the biggest mistakes that anyone who is a non Latino can make is assume that all Latinos are the same. No. Okay. In fact, I remember um, 9 years ago when I went to Colombia. Okay. Now, I was traveling with a group attending a Christian convention in, I forgot, okay, I forgot the name of the city. My memory, I'm having a brain fart at this point. But it's one of, it's, one of the cities, major cities in Colombia. So, what I did to prepare myself is I watch videos regarding Colombians. I watch videos regarding what's okay and what's not okay. I also ask people that I know who are Colombians, okay? Because the last thing I want to do is give the impression that I was the ugly American, okay? And I really enjoyed my time over there. I enjoyed the people. I definitely enjoyed that coffee. And also, I was able to watch their folklore dance, which is beautiful. Um, if you have the opportunity to go to Colombia, I will suggest that you do the same. And I did the same thing when I went to Panama. Okay, I try to learn as much as I can regarding Panama and things of that nature. One thing I have to bear in mind is that while Panama is a beautiful country, it is extremely humid. Okay, and those of you who know me know that me and heat do not get along very well. So I have to get acclimated to the climate. And of course, it was the same thing when I went to Mexico. I tried to learn things um, through videos and asking people who are Mexicans. And of course, I was very careful not to use the word cojín. Okay, I used the word usan or utilizar in order to take the use or to take because what might be considered appropriate in some Latino groups is interpreted differently. And that's something you have to bear in mind. Okay. And it did help me to enjoy my time over there. And of course, it was helpful that I learned that I was able to speak Spanish, even though my Spanish was not exactly um, like a native person. I mean, basically, anyone that listens to me speak can tell that I speak Spanish kind of like a gringo, but at least I can have a conversation. And one thing, if you make an effort when you visit this country to speak Spanish, even if it comes out a little weird, I mean, the people over there will appreciate the fact that at least you made the effort to try to speak, even though it may come out weird, even though you might mispronounce some of the words. The people in general, um, whether it be in the Caribbean, whether it be in Latin America, whether it be in Central America or South America, they will appreciate the fact that at least you made the effort to try to speak their language, and at least you made the effort to try to learn their customs and things of that nature. Now, if you do plan to visit Latin America, what I would suggest is the following. First of all, try to pick up some Spanish. You'll be surprised how much a few Spanish phrases will get how far it would get you. And again, it will be interpreted that at least you made the effort to learn. Number one. Number two, try to learn some things regarding some of the customs over there, and also learn some of the things which are acceptable or not acceptable. Okay, believe me, what you would do is, first of all, you will spare yourself some embarrassing and awkward moments. Number one, and number two, uh, the people that you are visiting will appreciate the fact that you at least you're making the effort to learn about their culture, that you're not the ugly American. Okay. And another thing to bear in mind that the concept of time over there in Latin America, it's not the same. Okay. Here in the United States, we used to things, done fast, fast. We're used to things done yesterday. There and okay, and what's similar is that the concept of time is different. And of course, do try to learn regarding the fashion over there. Excuse me, let me just someone's texting me. Excuse, just give me a moment. So one thing to bear in mind. Okay, my apologies. Um, but you be my apologies. I usually don't text. Okay, but in any case, getting back. Okay, getting back. Um, just be mindful that their concept of time is quite different. And I think if you can um, learn to deal with that, you're going to enjoy your time visiting Latin America. So, and one more, okay, one more myth. One more myth is that, of course, what may might be accept. Okay, one thing to bear in mind is that what may be acceptable in one culture may not be acceptable in another. So that's why it's very important, particularly when you're going to visit a Latin American country. Do try to learn what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. That's going to alleviate the embarrassment. And with that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Now, I will be live on this channel most likely Thursday, most likely around 8:30. The next time I will go live, it will be on my main channel, which will be on Friday night at 10:45 p.m. And for those of you who are not familiar, what I do with open discussion, I will share my views regarding several topics. Of course, I will encourage the audience to opine regarding each topic, which I will discuss. Also, if they have anything that they would like for me to talk about, I will do my best to comply. Okay. If it's something which I do not have a great deal of knowledge about, I'll be transparent. And there are certain topics which I prefer not to get into because people don't know how to discuss them without getting emotional. So these are some of the myths. I mean, there are more, but I don't want to keep talking to myself for an extended period of time. And of course, the playback end, you're more than welcome to enter whatever comments that you wish or maybe there's some other myths that you'd like me to, that you can enter in the comments as well. What I do ask that do be respectable. We can disagree, that's fine, but don't be disrespectful, because disrespectful comments are going to be deleted. And with that being said, thank you very much for your time and your attention. And of course, I'm going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. And of course, whatever we say and do, we should do to the glory of God. And with that being said, I thank you very much. Let me just check. Let's see. Okay. And with that being said, I thank you very much for your time and your indulgence.
Be strong.